good, hard, tough practice. A lot of fundamentals, a lot of work on other opponents and things we were doing. For the most part, it was a pretty daggone good day. We got to get better, but I saw improvements today, and we're going in the right direction. Like what I saw. Questions?
Any specific areas where the improvement really stood out to you?
Well, I just think the ability to be consistent with our technique, getting our eyes to where they're going as a quarterback, as a receiver, seeing things, and our offensive linemen making sure we're picking things up. The eye discipline was a lot better today than where we were at, which allowed us to make better decisions, which then allowed us to make the right plays. Didn't leave as many plays on. We left, like I said, I thought 4 or 5 big play touchdowns on the field the other day. I mean, legitimately, just in base things, and we can't leave them on the field. And you got to practice that way. And we didn't leave as many on the field today as we had been.
What would be the normal, plays up in the field difference last year?
It just depends. You can't judge that. I mean, you don't want inning.
Yeah.
And you don't. And a lot of times they're in inning. That's when you play well. You play really well with the things you do. But those are up and down. And you're going to have them occasionally. You just can't have a multitude of them.
That kind of stuff, not wanted, but leaving plays on the field expected with such a young group on offense?
No, I mean, no. It's never expected. I don't ever expect. If I ever expect it, that means I accept it. I mean, there may be something that happens, but you can't ever accept it. There's never a time. You want to be perfect. You strive for perfection every day. You got to think that way.
You think the biggest reward just from these few practices comes in this next game, or just the conglomerate effect in the rest of the season?
I hope it's the rest of the season. I mean, I hope it's the attitude in which we play the rest of the season.
As far as the offensive catcher and Featherston, what does that bring to your defense?
Well, a lot more depth, a lot more rotation. We also had Minshew practice today. So he got back out there. So I mean, those guys getting that depth, getting the rotation, just more guys, it's going to make us better and give us better practice habits because we can rest other guys that want to take as many reps.
They're both playing well for you. You see them right back into it.
Well, hopefully we'll see. I mean, we'll judge the film and look and see.
What's been most impressive to you about this defense so far through the season?
I think the consistency, keeping great leverage. They're getting to the football, tackling in bunches, but keeping great leverage on the ball and not giving up big plays as they're being aggressive.
Go back to the O-line with stunts and blitzes. Is that something that's going to be worked on?
100 times. I mean, that's something I don't mean it in a bad way. We work on it constantly anyway. Because those are things that we have picked up well earlier was the blitzes and stunts. But you got to. And I think of these young guys. And I think one of the things on offense we're getting to understand is you got to like the grind. You got to like to come to practice every day. You got to like to play a great game and then turn and come back to practice on Monday and do it again. These are longer seasons, and there's practicing at the college level at least here, is a much more serious. I mean, it's like a game. We want that same intensity. You got to do it every day. You just got to get your mindset to it, and hopefully they're learning to do that.
No respect. Was game one maybe too easy?
No, I just think you had plenty of time to prepare, and when you get excited, you look at things. You get pumped up, and then you got to learn to do it every week. You're not going to have as much time to prepare.
The issues that have trouble with the offense, is that stuff that can be cleaned up pretty quickly?
It's very. Their plays are there. Now it's not easy. Now we got to coach them better. What to do, where the eyes are, and then hold them accountable to doing it, and they have to do it. Things are there. I mean, it's just a matter of us. It's execution, and that's coaching and playing. It's both.
It's kind of like a preseason, so to speak, right? With the bye we come in, and you have 3 games there.
Well, I guess it kind of is in a weird way, but they count on the record, so it ain't like preseason.
How important is it to have Derek emerge this season?
I'm sorry?
Derek Hoskins emerged this season. We don't have the depth in the line. So what does it to you guys?
Big time. I mean, and a lot of versatility to play on the ball, to play in the middle of the linebacker, he can play them all, and his athleticism, his ability to cover. And then I'm going to tell you what else he's shining. You see him in special teams. You make him play after play on special teams. I mean, the light is coming on, and we knew he was going to be a great player. He just hadn't played a lot of football in high school. And then he gets to the college level, a little bit of adjustment time. It's a redshirt sophomore, man. Guy's got a chance to be a heck of a football player.
Stuff like that with players like that kind of change the complexion of your team from
big time. I mean, and that's the key. That's why I say everybody gets preseason, but what you don't ever know, you can't put your finger on. All right, what freshman make a contribution? All right, like for us, Giorgio, all of a sudden the light comes on. All of a sudden, Roderick, the light's coming on. Younger guys, more depth. So you're building that depth, and that's the thing about football that why teams. Everybody says, well, you were a preseason pick, and this. Well, that team may have had some guys that didn't come through. This team is having guys that do come through, and a lot of your great seasons are guys that you knew were there, and then finally that light comes on, and they start to be great players or build great depth for you in a lot of areas.
Jimmy, have you seen why it seemed like you guys had a hard time giving Bobo space on punt returns?
Yeah, we got our gunners. Gunners getting beat. So we got to do a better job. We got to get it off, and we lost Marquez in that game with that. We got him off there because he had his hamstring was bothering him a little bit, so we didn't want to run him too much on there and pull something. But we got to do a better job on the gunners.
Is it more
blocking? Straight blocking. Got to block them. Got to make your mind up and keep them out there.
Do you need to keep them outside?
Well, it depends on where the return is. I mean, outside, inside, you got to run them, and pin them. Some days it's across them, some days it's on the other side, depending on the return.
You mentioned the intensity of practice, so how much does that help with just the chemistry of the offensive line and finding the right
It's got to be. You got to practice like you play. The habits you create in the practice field are the ones you're going to create on the game field. You know, and then everybody says you're nervous and all, but if you prepare to take the test and you practice that way, and you go to the game, it's not that big a deal. And they got to continue to learn. That's why younger players and experienced guys, you got to continue to pound in their head.
With the offensive line, it was, I guess at media day, you said one of the big things with a young team is if they make a mistake, how do they respond?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the offensive line maybe didn't do a great job of that in that game?
Yeah, we let it accumulate too many times. Yes.
Are you comfortable with the linebackers right now in terms of?
But not just them, other positions did too.
Would you think about moving anybody, do anything with linebacker depth? Now with Lyons being out.
No, heck no.
You're okay there?
No, we got Lorenzo Phillips in there too. You got those 4 guys in the great rotation there. Then you're a nickel and dime. When you go to dime and other things, you got DBs in there. We're comfortable where we're at right now.
But when you guys are rushing the passer, is that ideally when you have guys on the inside, you have defensive backs? Is that what you kind of expect and hope for?
Well, we're just going to mix different mixes packages to be able to do different things and give you a multitude of looks. I mean, that's the key. And we have some guys, the DBs that can blitz, the backers, the ends. I mean, we got a multitude of guys now with athleticism that can make a difference.
Is that becoming more common across the board with football guys being able to all different positions?
Well, if you can recruit that way. I mean, you like to say that, but there aren't a lot of those guys out there. And then it takes time. Not only can they do it, then you got to train them to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully these guys have been in it for a while, the system for a while, and they're starting to pick it up. And some of those younger guys, like I say, are emerging.
How much does this week just help you learn about the rest of the ACC and the rest of the division as well as your team?
Don't worry about it. I'm worried about our next opponent and what goes on. I don't mean that. I don't try to study all that. I just want to worry about us. That's the one I can control. We got to learn about Florida State, what makes us tick and what makes us go.
One more. In terms of pass rush, has it developed like I hoped it would have?
Yeah, I've been pleased with that. We've been getting pressure on the quarterback, knocking him off his spot. Whereas with coverage, you can get pressure a lot of ways. Sometimes with coverage, you can get a coverage sack, or you can get the pressure, or even blitz packages. But I've been very pleased, and we'll continue to hopefully grow in that package each week.